We're on the Zoom. Can anyone hear us? Is there anyone on the Zoom?
Yes.
Okay, if you'll mute your device, we're going to begin shortly.
Thank you.
You can hear us?
Yes, thank you.
Wait, wait, Rabbi. I need to get a ribbon on, Marcia.
You can do mine. Okay. Repeat after me. Yeah. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Eloheinu melech haolam, Dayan ha'emet. Blessed are you, Lord, I have a true judge. You lift the ribbon from the bottom, and as we have her start. You tear the side of his hair and your heart. If the marker is like that, okay. The two are usually in the other room. Okay. Want to do the ribbon too? Yeah. Right. So rip, take out ripping. What we'll do, we'll get to it. You can be seated.
We can't hear you anymore. The sound is off.
Technology.
Death has taken our beloved Carol. Friends grieve in their darkened world. In their silence there is lamentation. In their tears there is loneliness. Lost in their sorrow may they find the presence of loving friends. Hear them, O God, and be with them. For her love that united us in life and which death cannot sever. For her companionship which we shared along life's path and still continues the tenderness of memory. For the gifts of her heart and her mind which brought us joy and happiness, and now become a precious heritage of the Spirit. For all these and more, God, we give you our praise. In his sorrow, Job cried out, Adonai natan, Adonai lakach, Yehi Shem Adonai mevarach. God has given, God has taken away. Blessed be the name of God. An ancient people were well acquainted with grief and with the valley of shadows. Death and sorrow are not strangers to us. Yet the centuries have taught us that a good name endures beyond the grave, and there is strength in faith. With Job we say, Adonai natan, God you have given. You gave us a loved one who will not be forgotten. For all that was good and enduring in her life, we offer the deepest thanks of our hearts. Eshet chayil mi yimsa, v'chok mitni mikra. A woman of valor who can find. She's more precious than fine pearls. Her husband trusts in her, and so he lacks nothing. She does him good, never harm, all the days of her life. She perceives that her labor is rewarding. Her candle burns on into the night. She reaches out to those in need and extends her hands to the poor. She's clothed in strength and dignity, and she faces the future cheerfully. She speaks with wisdom. The law of kindness is on her lips. Her children rise up and bless her. Her family sings her praises. Many daughters have done valiantly, but you excel them all. poem entitled My Hereafter. Do not come when I am dead, to sit beside a low green mound, or bring the first daffodils, because I love them so. For I shall not be there, you cannot find me there. I will look up at you from the eyes of little children. I'll bend to meet you in the swaying boughs of bud-filled trees, and caress you with the passionate sweep of storm-filled wings. I will give you strength in your upward tread of everlasting hills. I will cool your tired body in the flow of the river. I will warm your work-glorified hands through the glow of the winter fire. I will soothe you into forgetfulness to the drop of the rain on the roof. I will speak to you out of the rhymes of the masters. I will dance with you in the lilt of the violin and make your heart leap with the bursting cadence of the organ. I will flood your soul with the flaming radiance of the sunrise and bring you peace in the tender rose and gold of the after sunset. All these have made me happy. They are part of me, and I shall become a part of them. Poem by Kathy Z. Take time to talk, for you may ask of all things unknown to you. Take time to laugh, for smiles relinquish sorrow and spread happiness. Take time to think, for the realm of knowledge is never ending. Take time to see, for there is beauty in every part of the world around you. Take time to feel, for the emotions of your heart often control the reasoning of your mind. Take time to live, for each day is filled with new opportunities that will be gone tomorrow. Take time to dream, for your survival is forever challenging the powers of your imagination. Take time to love, for the sharing of all these things is the true miracle of life. Thank you. It is a fearful thing to love what death can touch. A fearful thing to love, hope, dream, to be and oh to lose. A thing for fools this, and a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me. Your laugh once lifted me. Your word was gift to me. To remember this brings a painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing to love what death has touched. Adonai roi lo echzar, bino desha yar bitzeni, omein rechok in achaleni. Please join me if you're familiar with the words of the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters, and restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord. Amen. The Baal Shem Tov, the Hasidic Rebbe, once observed that there are three ways we mourn. The first is with tears, the second is with silence, and the third is with song. We mourn someone truly beloved, we experience all three. Tears at first, then silence as our grief settles more deeply, and finally song as we're able to celebrate the memories we hold deep in our hearts. This is time for tears as we say our final goodbyes to Carol. We each remember Carol in our own way. Laura, Marcia, Robert, you all remember Carol as your loving mother. Throughout her life, Carol was a devoted wife to Harold, a loving sister to Sanford, and caring sister-in-law to his wife Joyce, and to Harold's sisters Lillian, Blanche, and Millie, and a dear aunt to her nieces and nephews. Carol was born on November 17, 1929, here in Cleveland, to Belle and Ben Bunin. Her brother Sanford was 6 years older than her. They grew up in a two-family home on 169th Street, and their Aunt Anne, Uncle Arthur, and Cousin Shell lived above them. When Carol was young, she loved to dance. She danced ballet and tap from the time she was 3 years old until she turned 17. Carol graduated from Collinwood High School in 1946. She attended Ohio State for a year. Some of the family, Excuse me. Some of the family believe she left because she was having just too much fun. And others believe she came home to be with her parents because her brother Sandy was stationed in Japan during the war. Carol went to work downtown at Sterling, Linder, and Halley department stores. She went to a dance where she met Harold. Actually, he asked a man she knew for her phone number. Called and they went on a date to the theatrical restaurant. Harold wasn't even 21 at the time. They dated for 2 years and got married in August of 1952. Laura was born in 55, Marcia in 63, and finally Robert in 67. They first lived in South Euclid, but right before Robert came along, the family moved to Lyndhurst. Carol was a stay-at-home mom. She was very involved in her children and her husband's lives. Laura remembers when she was young, her mother liked to take her downtown on the bus to spend the day shopping. Carol loved gardening at her house on Meadowwood and taking care of her beautiful roses. You all remember family vacations to Miami or Niagara Falls. In the summer, you enjoyed going to the local swimming pool, or your father liked to just go out on drives. And Marcia remembers how her mother took her to all kinds of art and drama classes and to museums when she was young. For years, Harold and Carol went to the Browns games, and Carol's mother would babysit the kids. They had seats in the 50-yard line. Later, she watched the Indians, Cavs, and Browns on TV. Carol explained that she started watching to spend time with her husband, but then it caught on. She became a big Cleveland sports fan. Carol was a good cook. She was a great grill master and made delicious cookouts. Carol also made delicious brisket and matzo pancakes. Marcia remembers a bright pink strawberry cake and a blueberry pie. It was hard to replicate Carol's baking, but she didn't use a recipe. She just threw it together, and it was delicious. Every July 4th, she made a custard or something that was red, white, and blue. When the kids were grown, Carol and Harold liked to go out to dinner and play in the bridge club. Carol was very close with her parents, and when her mother was in Montefiore, she would visit her every day. Carol loved the arts, going to the ballet, or listening to the symphony and the opera. She loved listening to the birds. Laura enjoyed going to art shows with her mother around Cleveland or to go antiquing. Carol seemed to get funnier and funnier as she got older. She was always smiling and very pleasant. She never complained unless she was in terrible pain. Carol made friends wherever she was. The nurses at Montefiore, at Beechwood Commons, everyone loved her. You could tell Carol really cared about all of you. Robert always asked his mom, "Do you need anything?" And she would respond, "Just you three." So today is a time for tears if we're saddened by the loss of Carol. We learn much from her, especially how to care for one another. And these tears serve to strengthen and uphold you as a family. There's a story in our tradition about a rabbi who once passed an old woman planting trees. The woman he called, "Why are you planting those trees? You'll never live to see them blossom." But the woman replied, "My ancestors planted trees not for themselves but for us, that we might enjoy their shade and their fruit. I too do the same for all those who come after me." Carol planted an orchard for each one of us, an orchard filled with devotion and with love, and these will always be here for us. We must be grateful that we're able to share in Carol's life. Tomorrow there'll be fewer tears, more silence. As the Baal Shem Tov noted, it will be a time for pondering, a time for contemplation. Carol become a greater part of our characters and our beings as we integrate the memories and the values she taught us into our own selves. But finally, become a time for song. The time will come when we can celebrate Carol, recall all that we learned from her, and how she touched each of our lives. May she rest in peace. Zecher Sidacha Livracha. May the memory of Carol Trattner be a blessing. Amen. Birth is a beginning, and death a destination. But life is a journey, a going, a growing, from stage to stage, from childhood to maturity, and youth to age, from innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion, then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength, or strength to weakness, and often back again, from health to sickness, and back we pray to health again, from offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, and pain to compassion, from grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat till defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see victory lies not at some high place along the way, but having made the journey, stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning, and death a destination. But life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage made stage by stage, through life everlasting. If you're able, please rise now for El Malay Rachamim. El Malay Rachamim, Shochen Bamramim, Ansei Minocha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Hashchina, Kidoshim Tehorim, Kuzora Harakia Mazgivim, Lishmat, Charna Bat Binyamin Verbracha, Shalacha La'olama, Baal Harachamim, Yasirecho Beseter Kenefav La'olamim, the Yitzur Bitzur Chachayim at Nishmata, Nanakuna Cholata, Tenuach Bishalom, Amishkava Minomar, Amen. Compassionate God, eternal spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to our beloved Carol Trattner, known in our tradition as Charna Bat Binyamin Verbracha, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace, and let us all say, Amen. We'll pause for a moment as we lower the coffin. We'll take a step back. Earlier late, all must answer the summons to return to the source of being. We lose our hold on life when our time has come. As a leaf falls from the bough when its day is done. The deeds of the righteous enrich us all, as a fallen leaf enriches the soil beneath. The dust returns the earth, but the spirit lives on with God. Like the stars by day, our beloved dead are not seen by mortal eyes. They shine on forever. Theirs is eternal peace. Let us be thankful for the companionship that continues in our hearts, in our minds, and with God. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we will remember her. In the blowing of the wind and the chill of winter, we will remember her. The opening of buds and the rebirth of spring, we will remember her. In the rustling of leaves and the beauty of autumn, we will remember her. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we will remember her. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember her. When we have joys we yearn to share, we will remember her. So long as we live, she too shall live, for she is now a part of us, as we remember. Now our tradition, the place of earth on the coffin, it's the last act of devotion we can show to Carol. The first hand to come to the coffin, and everything has a loving hand. So we invite 3 children to come forward and keep your hand. If anyone else would like to come forward, we will look. Anyone else would like to come forward, we will. join now the mourners. Get back to us. Think we put it away. Yeah. Join in the Kaddish. Yikadal, Yikadash Shemei Rabbah. Rachirute, V'Amrich Malchute. V'Hayachon, V'Mechon, Ufhayed Chol Beit Yisrael. V'Galav Izman Kari, V'Imru Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah Mevarach, V'Olam Ulamei Amaya. Yitbarach, V'Yishtabach, V'Yipa'ar, V'Yitroman, V'Yitnaseh. V'Yithagar, V'Yidalel, V'Yithalal, Shemei Kudusha, V'Rechu. Ve'elah, Yinkol Birchata V'Shirata. Pushpachata V'Nechmata, V'Miran B'Yama V'Inu Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya. V'Chayim Alenu V'Yal Kol Yisrael V'Inu Amen. Osei Shalom V'Ramah, V'Yasei Shalom. Alenu V'Yal Kol Yisrael V'Inu Amen. May God grant peace to those who mourn and comfort all bereaved among us. We all say Amen. Lech Kish Lach Adonai. Go your way, for God has called you. Lech v'nai yemach, go your way, and may God be with you. Mehalach lefanecha sitecha kavod Adonai yaspecha. May your righteousness go before you. In the memory of your life, every present in the hearts and minds of all those who have known you and loved you. And may the glory of God receive you. Amen.
This concludes our service. We thank those for attending. We kindly ask friends and family return to your cars. Thank you. This concludes our Zoom service. Thank you for attending.